Hello, and welcome to this, the first in a series of videos about gemstones. My name is Nicholas Cameron, aka the Gem Guru, and I'm going to be taking you through these videos and explaining all about gemstones, their value, and how you as a consumer can make a good purchase. So let's start with how gemstones are formed. Gemstones are formed in the earth at extreme temperatures and pressures. Now in certain cases this can mean that generally the material that will come out of the ground will be quite small, and therefore the value of a stone that's bigger will obviously increase exponentially. A good example of that would be, for example, emerald. It's generally found in very volcanic areas, and when it actually comes out you generally find it's quite included, and this is typical of this stone. In terms of actual localities, gemstones are found worldwide. Now, three main areas would probably be the continents of Africa, Asia and South America. These are all major gem producing countries. And in terms of some of the gems they produce, the name can actually connotate some of the finest examples of these gems. A good example of this would be Colombian emerald, Burmese ruby, Kashmir sapphire. All of these names can add a premium to the price if indeed the gems are from these localities, because they're generally considered fine gems and there's a historical significance there. But be careful, people can call gems that where they're not. These things need real expertise to actually validate such a name. So let me show you some of the rough that comes out the ground to give you an idea how the life of a gemstone starts. Now here you can see a selection of what's known as Mahenge spinel. Now you can see the selection of colours here. There's pinks, there's slightly purpley colour, and this is what it comes out the ground looking like: shards of broken glass. Now thankfully with today's technology we can create the finished article out of these pieces of rock, which I'm going to show you now. Now these three stones are a selection of the same material that you've just seen in the rough, but as you can see, very vibrant colours. Now this is what Mahenge spinel is actually noted for, the vibrancy of the colour. This is what adds value to any gemstone. And you can see here, this could be a pink sapphire, this could be a ruby, this could also be a ruby, but it's the vibrancy of those colours. And this is what we can actually do with the rough that you've just seen. And these are a viable alternative if you can't afford ruby, for example. Much lower price point per carat, yet equally as beautiful. Yet most people don't know about these sort of stones. But here you can see examples, and broaden your own spectrum, broaden your own understanding of the gemstone world. Now this is a selection of other gems available. Here we have a very intense green gem, we have the ruby red, we have the sapphire blue. Yet this is not an emerald, this is not a ruby, and this is not a sapphire. Again, these are alternatives. This is a tsavorite garnet, very intense rich green colour, very like the grasslands in Africa actually. And the tsavorite garnet, the name comes from the Tsavo National Park, which is where this gem was discovered. We also have the rubellite tourmaline. Now tourmaline is a relatively common gem, but you can see the comparable colour in terms of that sort of pinkish reddish, which very like a ruby. I say, yet much more available than ruby, and at a much more reasonable price. And here we have tanzanite, which again is a reasonably priced alternative to sapphire. Blue sapphire can run into thousands of pounds a carat. Tanzanite, even in larger sizes at the moment, probably would set you back maybe about £500–600 a carat for a very fine specimen and quite large. I mean, this is a relatively small specimen here, but very nice, as you can see. The other gems I have here are a lilac Mahenge spinel. We also have Paraíba tourmaline, mint green. We have a natural colour aquamarine, which is unheated in this case. Most aquamarine you'll find in the market is heated. I personally prefer going for the natural gems, and treatments are something which we will be discussing in later videos. And finally, we have the spessartite garnet, which is this lovely golden yellow colour, and I've coined it the Sun of Africa, in the finest colour, very intense orange and absolutely stunning to look at. Now these gems you've just seen are a selection of alternatives to the Big Four. And the Big Four, the main reason they're known is just basically marketing. These are the ones that have been marketed through the ages as being the gems to get, but as you've just seen, there are a lot of alternatives available to you. Now in terms of value, how do we value gems? Well, in terms of coloured gems, it's actually quite simple. The colour determines the value. That's a very broad outlook, of course. There are a lot of little factors, there's a lot of individualities that you need to consider when you're looking at gemstones, but these are things that we'll be discussing in future videos. So I hope this has given you a nice brief introduction to the world of gemstones, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.